Good evening, everybody. Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining us tonight here at West End Architectural Salvage for our MicroGrant dinner. We want to give a big shout out and thank Don and everybody with West End for hosting us. Appreciate Don's ongoing support of everything that we're doing under our roof. If you didn't hear Daphne earlier, if your stomach still needs a little bit more food, there's plenty left over here, so help yourself as we move through the program tonight. I also just have to give another shout out to Don. I couldn't help but notice that there are for sale signs on a lot of things here. So, if you're looking for that something special, then now would be the time. There are some, I want to take just a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. Tonight's event is presented by Artswork and the Des Moines Arts Festival. Artswork is a new organization, a sister organization of the Des Moines Arts Festival that we started this past year to answer the call to help and support individual creative entrepreneurs in our community. This was a call from many years ago with the Regional Cultural Assessment throughout both not only our region, through our state, but asking a lot of folks who live here about what are some of the things that we need to really bolster the community and quality of life. And a big piece of that was to help support regional artists. We like to call them creative entrepreneurs because we have a little trouble within the Des Moines Arts Festival. Every time we say artists, everybody thinks we mean visual artists, which we champion, but we also mean performing artists, writers, directors, producers, anybody involved with the arts. They are a creative entrepreneur. And we're here to champion what they're doing in our community. We feel very strongly about that, and because of that, we started several programs to help support them throughout the year. Tonight is one of them, the MicroGrant dinner. There are 5 really, truly amazing ideas that you're going to hear about tonight that are going to happen in our community, and we're going to provide some seed funding to help these projects happen. We also hope that if one of the 5's name is not called at the end of the evening, that some of you may feel inclined to continue to support that project regardless of whether they win the MicroGrant dinner, MicroGrant tonight. Everything in our community takes funds. We don't do art for free. We all have mortgages, we all have car payments, we all have things that we have to pay for. There are some in our community who have selected art as the means to live their life, and we need to support that as best we can. Can I get an amen? The other way that we're doing this is the Creators Breakfast Club. We meet the last Saturday of every month. We present speakers working with the Iowa Center. It's amazing when you get in front of a mic how quickly things just pop right out of your head. So the Breakfast Club, think Rotary for Artists. It's an opportunity for creative entrepreneurs to come together and learn how to do the stuff they don't really want to do, like balance a checkbook, like write a grant, do the kinds of things that will make them better business people, and so that we can put them in a position to succeed outside of their creative realm. There's also Artist Connect, which was born out of that ugly thing we like to call the pandemic, but through that, our teachers were reaching out to us, asking us if there was anything that we could come up with that they could use to help educate students during the pandemic. Can you imagine trying to teach visual arts during the pandemic on a computer screen, right, through that? So we did. We essentially, we go to the artist studios, and because of all that beautiful, lovely equipment that the schools bought during the pandemic, most schools are now hooked up via Zoom or Google Meet or something like that, and we can zoom electronically into both the classroom and the studio. So it's a really cool opportunity for us to go to an artist studio and share that artist studio with the students in the school, and they get to learn more about the artist and about what they do in their process and see their equipment and really talk to them about what it is and how they make their art. So those are just a few of the things that are keeping us busy these days. We hope that you will continue to support Arts Work, the Des Moines Arts Festival, which, by the way, is June 27th to the 29th in 2025. Mark your calendars, please. We'd also invite you to join us on First Friday. Mainframe Studios does a First Friday every month. I am doing a plug for our December 6th First Friday, where we are going to present the photography of those photographers who work for us during the Arts Festival to take pictures during the Arts Festival. It's amazing for us. You can imagine we've got our heads in different things, and when we get to the end of the festival, we see the artistry come out in the stories that they're telling through their photographs. And we want to give that back to the community. So we're going to be doing a photography exhibit from the photographers who took photographs at this year's Des Moines Arts Festival. That's December 6th during First Friday, and all of Mainframe is open, of course, every First Friday of every single month. That was a lot of information, but it's okay because we have a newsletter, a really spectacular newsletter, which if you go to artswork.art or DesMoinesArtsFestival.org, you can sign up for the newsletter, and we send it out on a regular basis, and we provide you with all of this lovely kind of information that I know you really wanted to write down with those colored pencils, but you were paying attention to me, and I really, truly appreciate that. So, with that, I want to thank you again, all of you, for being here. I forgot that I didn't introduce myself. I'm Stephen. I'm the Executive Director of the Des Moines Arts Festival and Arts Work. And I want to introduce Daphne Dickens, who is our Director of Guest Engagement, who will serve as your host tonight.
Alrighty, so tonight, who has been to a MicroGrant dinner before? Okay, a few of you have. Great, good to see you all again. So a little bit about the process that we went through the past couple of months. We had our applications that were open on our website for 4 weeks. And those creatives that submitted an application, they included their project medium, their concept, photos, videos, any other proposals that they wanted to include to pitch us their idea. So we went through, we selected 5 of those artists, and they were selected on their project specifics, and they had a really specific goal in mind that stuck out, that felt really good for the community and for themselves. Then each of the artists had a one-on-one with Stephen and myself to expand on their idea and talk more about their presentation for tonight. So, PechaKucha, say it with me, PechaKucha. Alrighty, so that means 20 slides, 20 seconds each. It actually means chit chat in Japanese, according to Google, so you know. And it was apparently created by 2 owners of an architectural firm, and they wanted fast-paced presentation style that emphasized images rather than text. So tonight on a lot of the presentations, you will not see a lot of text here. A little bit about tonight. So after each artist or creative presents, we'll have one question taken from the audience. So kind of as they're presenting, and if you have questions that come up, jot them down. After everyone has presented, we'll have all of the artists come up, and we'll take one question for each artist from the audience. And then you guys get to vote on your favorite project. The project with the most votes receives a MicroGrant of tonight. It is $1,000. So, and yes, it is okay to get up and get a drink from your lovely bartenders during, in between the presentations. Yes, thank you. It's always a little awkward. People don't know what to do, and you're like, we don't want you to get thirsty, you know. So, with that, does anyone need a drink before we start? Okay, cool. So, with that, our first presenting artists are going to be Jeremiah and Megan LaBreche, and they're going to talk to you about Art is Rad tonight.
Does this sound okay? We're doing a lot of
doing a lot of reading. Does this sound okay to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Are you guys ready? All right, let's go. I'm Jeremiah, and this is Megan, and we're from Heart is Red. We're here to talk about support MicroGrant. This grant will help us be in the way of this. Sorry. Let me just slide that over. Okay, anyways.
It all started. You're good. Apparently we're in the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're in their way though. Sorry about that.
We've done this before. It's
Yeah.
fine. We're all out. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right. So you're in your slide. Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
Ready? Good now?
Sorry about that.
And go.
All right, I'm Jeremiah, this is Megan, and we're from Heart is Red. We're here to ask for your support for this MicroGrant. This grant will help us keep our accessible art events thriving and covering supplies, marketing, and venue expenses. Ensuring that art remains accessible for our community, we'd like to share our story.
It all started when I bought Jeremiah a notebook and a pen. After losing two of our close friends in 2023, Albert and Michael, I thought having a creative outlet for Jeremiah to process his emotions might be helpful with his reading process. It did, it was helpful, and it also helped strengthen our relationship in the process.
So our night began as just the two of us spending time together at one of our favorite places, doodling and drinking and playing with watercolors. We enjoyed hanging out and making art while enjoying some of our favorite beers at 505 Brewing Company.
One night, Kelsey, the taproom manager, asked how we felt about bringing back Drink and Draw. Drink and Draw had been a gathering for artists, kind of like a knitting circle for people who liked to draw or who liked to make art. Life was very busy for us and our family, but it sounded fun, so we told her we'd consider it.
I was drawing at the brewery and Brett was impressed by one of my doodles. I said, I showed you mine, now you gotta show me yours. He reluctantly showed me his art and I was impressed and asked how he made it. He said in high school his parents didn't like him creating art, so he tore up all of his artwork, and years later he created this.
Lance, a longtime friend of Brett's, was surprised but supportive, saying, I had no idea that you created art. Brett admitted that he didn't feel comfortable talking about it. He wasn't sure if anyone would like it. That moment sparked an idea. We wanted to create a space where people like Brett could express their creativity without fear of judgment, even if they'd been hiding it.
We agreed to bring back Drink and Draw, but we added a twist. We wanted it to be for anyone, not just for artists. We decided to have a project available for those who wanted help, and we brought plenty of art supplies to share. Our goal was to remove all barriers for people to create art.
We decided to host art night on Monday nights. It was typically a slower night at the brewery, so we thought they'd appreciate the potential increase in business, and we liked having the tap room mostly to ourselves. We had many weeks where it was just the two of us, but sometimes we were joined by others.
In February, we wondered, how do we get more people interested in what we're doing? So we sat down and strategized. We thought Drink and Draw sounded intimidating, so we renamed it to Art Nights. Megan came up with the tagline, you don't have to be an artist to create rad art with us. And we also made up flyers and put them up in the tap room for the next month's projects.
In March 2024, we saw our first regular attendees. Stephanie and her family began joining us every Monday. Trish also joined us soon after, full of enthusiasm and ideas, and Curtis, who had first attended back in December, began attending regularly as well. We were so excited.
In April, we had our first week with 10 participants, and in May, we doubled that to 20. We even hosted a tie-dye event in partnership with 515 Brewing Company, bringing a crowd of 40 people and nearly selling out of our branded t-shirts.
With that growth came increased costs. After all, art supplies aren't free. We initiated a $5 supply charge, but still kept a first-time free policy. However, due to how many newcomers we had every week, consistently, that barely made a dent in covering our costs.
We also decided that we could use some help, so we formed a small group, Stephanie, Trish, Curtis, Megan, and myself, to brainstorm new ideas on how we could keep Art Night going. Having fresh new perspectives really helped keep things moving forward. It's a real picture.
In June, we hosted a community art project for Art Week, and we had over 100 people participate. Through this event, we met many new people who were interested in what we were doing and gained quite a few new regular participants in Art Night, further growing our community.
People started sharing how Art Night filled their creative void in their lives. Some would come once and then start creating regularly at home, inspired by the event. Many also valued the opportunity to try different types of art without having to invest in their own supplies, and they were also able to find community.
This month, we celebrated 1 year of Art Nights with a big event at 515 Brewing Company. We included food, live music, spoken word, and fine art experiences. We've also established ourselves as a nonprofit and obtained 501c3 status in August. We've had a lot to celebrate.
Despite the success and growth, most of this has been self-funded by our board, and especially Megan and I. We need financial support from our community to help make this sustainable and to help keep it accessible to all people.
With your help, our hope is to expand our Art Night experiences to new locations. We would like to secure funding for event supplies, marketing, and outreach. We're committed to keeping art accessible and affordable to all in our community.
We talked about Art Night, but we also have upcoming events. We'll be hosting our own art show in the Valley Junction next month, featuring a mix of experienced artists as well as some new to selling their art at an art show. In November, we'll be hosting an art event for youth at the Franklin Avenue Library.
Looking to the future, we would like to have a location to call home, a place which could be used to host art classes or art nights, and a place that would be more comfortable for people who prefer to not be in an alcohol-centered environment. With this grant, it would just touch the surface of these goals, but it would help us make a big step forward.
Thank you.
No pressure. The first one out of the box is always challenging, right? All right, so, good job, Megan. You did it. Let's take one question from the audience. Who has a burning question? Don't be shy. Don't make me call on someone. I'll do it. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I've attended one of your art events and I had so much fun. I love that you made it accessible to everyone. I've never done mosaics before, always been interested. What type of new artists, types of art are you looking to promote to community? Like what forms are you, do you have any ideas in mind or am I putting you on the spot?
No, not at all. It's kind of funny because we didn't want to, the question was is what kind of art are we going to be pushing forward, going forward?
What types, yeah.
Anything in the future?
Yeah.
Basically, you ever go on Instagram and you're like, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what we'll do sometimes, and we'll go like, let's do that because I think people want to try it. And sure enough, like you put something out like that, it's fine. But I'm also surprised about how many people love doing like watercolors or landscapes or whatever. So we've kind of been cycling through some of these things.
Yeah. So one of our goals with our art projects that we present to people is we want them to be really inclusive. Okay, we like to keep them simple enough that anyone can do it. So think like first grade level art, right? But it also needs to be something that like you're gonna take it home and be like, look what I made, this is so cool. So we don't use things with hot tools. We don't use a lot of sharp objects or anything like that. We keep it simple, but we like exploring whatever we can. And if we find ideas online that we're like, ooh, that looks really neat, but it's not gonna work, we find a way to make it work.
Let's give them another round of applause. Christy Evans. We're going to position the mic before you get started.
My story starts with a pivot from being a high school teacher and coach to undiagnosed health problems. I left my classroom after 20 years to go home, where I waited several more years for doctors to diagnose the trouble and ultimately perform the solution. But before the fix, I was home and my health was worsening. I was getting weaker and weaker, but I could do 15-minute creative sessions. So up from the chair to paint, and then back down to the chair to recover. And that's when art showed me its power to help us cope with life's hard things. Now, 2 brain surgeries later, I've regained my balance, mobility, and clear vision. What helped me during these last 5 years was making art. Talking with other creatives, being in art festivals. Doctors fixed me, but art saved me. Now for the jump, because how do health issues lead me to organizing a pop-up art event? Well, my project, at its foundation, is about bringing people together, which felt very important to me when I lay all alone. During that isolation, I'd watch visual auras like these, where objects twirled together and then bounced far apart, and that's what got me focused specifically on connections. How they can be stretched, almost to breaking, but still a thread remains. And that happens for the artist community in Iowa, as the weather changes and outdoor festivals end. During that time, artists can feel isolated too, so far away from peers and sharing their art. Those connections aren't broken either. They're just stretched until the weather warms up. So how could we beat the weather? Bring the artists inside for camaraderie and create a memorable experience for buyers. The idea went through several iterations, and I'm very happy now with where it's headed. So what am I envisioning? Bringing together 12 artists with energized art buyers, bridging that Iowa cold weather gap. This beautiful space will showcase a fine art offering and allow those of us who love art to all share a moment. And here's a sneak peek from the artist. To be clear, I don't expect us to all like everything. But a small show lets us slow down and spend time with what we do like. Talk to the artists and dive deeper into their art. With the 3 groups involved in Artist Avenue, each will have its own idea of what makes a successful event. While each group is different, as people come together and drift apart, wandering from artist to artist or shop to shop, we're all still connected in these shared spaces. And how about the connection between Des Moines and Indianola? Now, if you live in Indianola, part of that is going to Des Moines. But the road travels both ways. For those of you who live in Des Moines, I hope you'll consider coming and checking out Indianola. Once you're here, surprise! Wow! Have things been updated? And people are taking notice. In fact, Indianola downtown was recently named an official Main Street, Iowa community for its revitalization of the historic district called The Square, which makes up, oh, I'm behind. Speaking of the town square, check out how close north that is. Better Homes and Gardens is only a few doors down to the east near a coffee shop, cafes, boutiques, and 2 parking lots. Frankly, the location couldn't be better, and the timing is good too. On November 23rd, when we'll pop up, Indianola downtown will be having Home for the Holidays from 4 to 8 p.m. I've planned a 2-hour overlap so people can do both events. They can come to see art first or wander in and see art second. Overall, I'm thinking I have 3 W's in place. The what it is, when it is, and where it is. But I need the money to market well and reach the who's with clear connections to their whys, and those 2 are the hard ones. There's social media, absolutely one step. There's local newspapers, good too. But I'd like to do more, get creative. For instance, I'd like to make in place table tents in select coffee shops and restaurants to reach people when they're sitting down for a bit. With funding, I could even incentivize coming to shop. Motivating people to actually show up, even to something they want to do, is sometimes tricky. Small perk, hot drinks, coffee in the morning, and hot cider in the evening. That'll work. This is a first time event that, like I said earlier, brings 3 different groups together. The old coach in me believes that's a good thing, and that we can work as kind of a team that brings energy and support to one another and results in a successful outcome. This pop-up could be amazing for artists, for buyers, and for downtown Indianola. The artists are in, their awards and all. Indianola has its shiny stars too. But the buyers, to have art buyers show up, that's the last part. And for that, I need your help. I need art enthusiasts like you to mark calendars and make the drive to Indianola. But before that, I need art lovers to know about the event. Could you help me spread the word? And if that's with your vote tonight for marketing money, even better. Thank you.
That's an easy drive. It's a beautiful drive down to Indianola. Alrighty, who has a question for Christy? Can I just make it awkward and no one asks? Yes.
How did you determine what artists to include in your show?
She asked, how did you determine what artists to include in your show?
I posted on the Iowa Artists Directory and created an event and put that out there. And then I just received applications. I had a 4-person jury to review, and one of the things that I think has turned out really well, I was a little concerned about it going in, but it's turned out really well. To have enough variety that if people come to this event, they may not connect with an artist or another artist. But we have a good variety. I've got painters, potters, a photographer, a jewelry maker. For only having 12 people in this space, I really do think that for folks that come inside, they'll find something.
Alrighty, switching disciplines now. We're gonna turn it over to Aaron Earl Short, who's going to talk about his 12-12 project.
My name is Aaron Earl Short. I quit drinking for the last time 14 and a half years ago. Quit many times during 15 years prior. As a songwriter, I've written a lot of songs. My personal struggles with alcohol and poverty. 14 and a half years ago, with immense help from my wife, she suggested I try a recovery group, any groups. Being an open-minded kind of guy, I said, not a chance in hell. Instead, put my most honest, deepest, and darkest thoughts on the matter into these songs. The next few years, I sprinkled these tunes into my sets around the Midwest, mostly bars. It's not easy. Songs like this put me high in the running for the world's worst beer salesman. It hasn't been uncommon for someone to approach me after a set, sometimes in tears, relating to some of the lyrics that I've sung. I've realized the importance of honest writing and how healing it is to relate to someone else's unique story by telling my own. To those people, my advice is always write. I believe if you write as honest as if nobody is ever going to read it, but the next day you will be surprised by your own words. And one day, about a month ago, reflecting on the memory of my mom, Linda Short, she was into numerology and angel numbers. 6 years ago, she passed away at 12/12, on 12/12, while I played my guitar and my family sang Amazing Grace. The memory was interrupted by a revelation to see if I had a song that would touch on each of these 12 steps of recovery. Not only do I have all the songs and then some, I've been clumsily dancing up and down at least 11 of these steps the whole damn time. Personally, 12 steps of recovery are a list of daily practices and reminders to help stay on track and on the wagon for myself and for those that I love. The 12th and final step is service, which I take to mean get these tunes out to people who may need to hear them, to find purpose outside of myself, and that's what I've been looking for. Last week I had my first 12/12 recovery song collection concert. My initial thought was, nobody wants to go out on a Friday and hear a guy talk and sing about how you can't party. There were 45 people in attendance, which was a big surprise to me. I was expecting 4 or 5, 42. When I asked for feedback, I received this note. Aaron, your authentic, honest, and vulnerable music and storytelling invited us into your soul in glimpses and glimmers of truth and healing hope. Your spiritual gift of music truly resonated deep in my bones. Thank you. I'm wanting to book this show in places that need service. As someone in recovery, I would like to give people relatable live music in a safe space. I feel that everyone can relate to this topic, whether it's for themselves or for someone that they care about. Partnering with organizations on sobriety that focus on sobriety and mental health and wellness will be part of the collaborative goals of this project. These partnerships have already for me, including support from downtown Disciples in Des Moines and an executive music producer, James Gross, in the Minneapolis area. This project will be expanding to Minnesota and throughout the Midwest. Starting in Minnesota this year, this week, in fact, my family and I will be moving to the Minneapolis area on Tuesday, so we could use your help moving. If I were to receive this MicroGrant, I would use it to print small notebooks with my lyrics from the project and links to the songs online, and with blank pages for others to journal their own journey, most 12 steps to recovery. And then personal booking materials, additional funds. I once received bad advice from a good friend. He said you need to write songs that people want to hear. But I've always wanted to write songs people need to hear, which is why I want to make an album with this recorded song collection. Recording sessions with executive producer James Gross have already been booked for 2025. seems nearly as enthusiastic about this project as I am. He's been sober for 8 years now. The 12th song, Gravity, corresponding with the final step of service, was recorded at PechaKucha Studios in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, with the band Hollow Blue, and is scheduled to be released in December of this year. And the line from the song, Gravity: from a bad kind of fame and a worse kind of glory, you will rise up from yourself and feel gravity. My family is the reason for my dedication to the 12 steps, and my main inspiration for this 12-12 project. And I appreciate the artworks, artist's work, and Des Moines Art Festival for the time, and I thank y'all for your time. Just thank you. Have a great night.
Aaron, who has a question? Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
I love your story. It's personal. When are you coming back to Iowa? You're going to Minneapolis.
On the 20th of October.
Nice.
We play a lot of shows down here. Pretty much all of our connections are here. My wife and I, we play the high class. We come back off with my family. My dad's still here, my brothers. So we'll be back a lot to do this. Already got some interest in that. So.
Where are you playing on the 20th?
Middleburg, Mercantile, but it's not, this process, some of these songs I'll play. Try to stop some of the beer sales.
Give Aaron a round of applause. Alrighty, we're gonna switch into photography and we're gonna welcome up Tina Campbell. You guys hear me?
Great.
Hi, my name is Tina Campbell, and I am a landscape photographer. I focus mainly on landscapes, old barns, and nature. Tonight, I would like to tell you about Iowa's 99. What it is, how this grant will help me to take the next necessary steps, and why it's important to me. Iowa's 99 is an endeavor to encourage outdoor exploration and connection with nature while fostering deep appreciation for the diverse landscapes across the state by bringing attention to some of Iowa's hidden natural treasures through a photographic patchwork of its 99 counties. I once heard someone refer to their whole state as their neighborhood, a place to cherish, nurture, and improve. I love that sentiment. Iowa, or rather our neighborhood, consists of 410,000 acres of recreational use space, 71 state parks, 4 state forests, 313 county parks and natural areas, 10,000 acres of preserves, 2,000 miles of biking trails, 75 lakes, and over 400,000 acres of wetlands, and much more. That's a lot of nature to explore. And to accomplish this endeavor, it is my intention to visit and photograph at least 3 varied natural locations from each of Iowa's 99 counties. As of today, I photographed 27 different parks, wetlands, and wildlife areas over 17 counties, with plans to visit 4 more by the end of the year. The time and travel up to this point has been a personal investment that I have made as I begin to create and mold Iowa's 99, a vision that continues to take shape with each county, and an investment that has led to connections with some amazing people, including those from Iowa's conservation boards. One such connection has been Jesse Lowry and Amy Warnke with the Madison County Conservation Board that led to a week-long artist-in-residence in a yurt at Hamel State Park, and an invitation to do an exhibit as well as sell cards and prints in their nature center once it opens. This grant would play a pivotal role in the creation of the initial exhibit pieces. After visiting each county, I select one photo that will be printed, backed, and trimmed to the shape of that county. These will come together to create a life-size exhibit that will grow as the project progresses. A portion of this grant would also cover the cost of some of the initial cards, postcards, and prints, allowing me an opportunity to generate interest as well as income for future printing and travel needs. A small portion of this money will also go to help cover some portion of the upcoming travel cost. So why is Iowa's 99 important to me? I like to say that I did not find photography, it found me. It began with a scrapbook hobby I took up along with a best friend when our kids were little. At the time, I was a mom in my 30s, still trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. Scrapbooking was an outlet that got me out of the house and allowed my creativity to roam free. Over time, I began taking photos of other things, partially because my kids seemed to get great joy of making awful faces every time the camera came out. But also, it jived well with something else I enjoy, getting lost. Wandering along back roads searching for old barns became a source of joy and often led to me finding places I might not otherwise have seen. Then 6 years ago, I began a morning gratitude practice where I would write down 5 things I was grateful for. I incorporated it into my photography by taking gratitude walks, where I would take photos of things that made me think, made me smile, or just looked interesting. Photography changed how I saw the world. Gratitude taught me how to appreciate the world. In the fall of 2019, I filled out my first art festival booth application. I was accepted, and I promptly began to apply for as many as I thought I might be willing to do. In February of 2020, I participated in Handmade Hootenanny in Ankeny, Iowa. It was my first art show, it was successful, and then the rug got pulled out from under us all. I'm behind. Fast forward to spring of 2023, I was awarded an artist in residence at Waubonsee State Park in the West Hills. I was born in Iowa and had only just become familiar with the West Hills. When I started to sell the prints of the pictures I'd taken at the West Hills, I was surprised, and I'm not going to lie, a bit relieved to discover that many people were not aware of these beautiful hills, their trails, their story. A conversation that repeated itself often over photos from various locations. That's when Iowa's 99 began to take shape. How fun would it be to seek out places around the state that were unknown, overlooked, or underrated? And wouldn't it be cool to get people excited about the county and state they live in by helping them see how much beauty exists right here in our neighborhood? Throughout this presentation, I've been sharing photos of some of the many parks, preserves, trails, and wildlife areas I have visited over the years, with several from locations I had not heard of until I started this project. Ultimately, Iowa's 99 is a vision of encouraging people to explore this big, beautiful neighborhood of ours by bringing awareness to more of these amazing natural spaces that are often overlooked, underrated, or unknown. Future plans for Iowa's 99 include a large patchwork quilt version of the exhibit and a book. Current plans include the progressive exhibit, prints, and postcards. And I'm also creating a website and doing more consistent social media posting that will include photos, information, as well as my own personal scorecard complete with ratings on appearance, accessibility, amenities, bathroom, and safety. I also have plans for either a podcast, a YouTube channel, or occasional live recorded walks where I can interview people that I meet along the way. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you consider voting for Iowa's 99 for this beneficial grant.
Thank you, Tina. Who has a question about Iowa's 99?
I have one.
Yes.
What county are you from?
Warren.
So what is that Warren that you found that you didn't know about?
Blue Flag Marsh. Familiar with it?
Yes.
It's a beautiful spot.
It's wonderful.
We're gonna take a field trip after this. The bus is gonna pick us up. So, thanks.
I'm a mover, so. Oh, yeah. All right, well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming here today. My name is Basi, and a little bit about me. I was in the Iowa Army National Guard for a little while. I'm a creative in a lot of different spaces, and most importantly, I am the father of 2 amazing children, and I am married to a smoking hot Kenyan lady. I own Iowa, Nebraska's first black comic book and animation company. And so tonight I'll be asking you for $1,000 to help offset some of the costs for a red carpet event that I'm putting on in November. So I make comic books, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller really all around. And so storytelling is what I do. I'm actually working on a presentation that I want to get on TED Talk. And that talks about the power of storytelling and how it affects us, the world around us. The one desire that I think everybody on the planet shares is the desire for their voice to be heard. And for a lot of people, that can be a matter of life or death. To show you that, I will tell you a couple of stories. These are some texts from a friend of mine's mom who's a teacher here in Iowa, and she had a student, one of the only black students in the school. He was struggling in class, not really engaging. She had showed him one of my interviews on the news, and she said when he saw that, he became a completely different student, was asking questions, was engaged. This is my brother, Tristan, and he and I are similar in a lot of ways, but the way that we are very different is in the things that we believe. Now, unfortunately, he passed away in 2022 from a drug overdose, and I believe that's because we believe different things. We believe different stories about ourselves, different stories about the world around us. And so, while almost 40% of the worldwide anime market is people of African descent, only 5% of the characters in those genres actually reflect that, and when we do get stuff from the mainstream, it's always slavery, segregation, or we're criminals. So, now I started Senslo Studios to authentically represent the genre's biggest, if not one of the biggest demographics, and I'm doing that with stories like Aru and Watt over here. And I am also, as a soldier, I want to bring a voice to the veteran community as well, and I'm doing that with stories like Regicide Havoc. So I travel around the Midwest, and I hit different Comic-Cons and different cultural events to get face-to-face with the people that I serve. And so in total, I have about 8 million people that I serve, and between the 3 million veterans and the 5 million Black Americans, that's really who I connect with, and so that's why I get that to them. I've been on the news a bunch of times, and I have some pretty cool partnerships. One is the 1111 Veteran Project, and that's owned by a professional race car driver, so we're working together, and I also was the recipient of the Best in Category at the Hy-Vee Opportunity Business Summit. And I'm not doing it by myself, okay? I have, that says news coverage, but it should say team. This is my publishing expert, Kristen. She's a lot smarter than me. She went to school for that. And this is Miranda, also smarter than me, and she's my logistics officer. She helps me keep my brain on track when it ADHDs. So these are the books that I have out right now from my main comic book series. And they feature all Black characters, different aspects from African cultures and mythology and things that you never really see, in the mainstream stories. And so that is the universe that this project that I'm working on is set in. And so what I'm working on is called a motion comic. And basically what that is there's still images that have a little bit of animation added to it, voice actors, music, sound effects, and all those things to really just bring it to life and make it a more immersive experience. And so there's a lot of work to do on this. I'm doing a lot of it myself. I'm animating it, I wrote it, I'm directing it, producing it. I am working with a couple people on it though. My friend at Genie Mix It, he's an audio engineer. I have another friend who's getting it ready for like the movie theater speakers, Dolby Atmos, that type of thing. And then also the cast that I have on here. So I have casted some local people, but the 3 main ones that I want to talk about, Aisha, she is from St. Louis, and she's on a series on Amazon Prime. Nkone is from South Africa, and she is on a few things on Netflix. And then my friend Freddie Fulton, he's currently up in New York doing a lot of cool things on stage. And so we're gonna premiere this at Fleur Cinema on the south side of Des Moines, and it's gonna be a whole red carpet experience, photographers and a community canvas and like all these types of things, and you can imagine that comes with some expenses. And I'm almost there. I just need a little help getting over the hump. So, so far I put about $2,000 into the production side of things, and the event itself, with all the bells and whistles, is going to be around $1,500. And so this MicroGrant will go a long way to help alleviate some of that, so that way we can do it without completely draining everything. So we're going to have vendors there to help stimulate local businesses and collaborate with other entrepreneurs and artists. 40 Under 40 member Siricasso, he's an artist, and he's also going to be there hosting the community canvas. He's a good friend of mine, and I shot him a text. I was like, hey bro, you want to do this? He's like, yeah. So after this is all done, I'm going to take the video, I'm going to put it up on YouTube, and it's going to be free to watch. And the reason why I do that is because we have somewhat of an initiative of breaking financial barriers. So we have some digital comics that are free to read. We have some other motion comics that are free to watch. We do that because I was once a broke little black kid who couldn't get anything that I liked. So this is a picture of my friend Jimmy. He's an executive producer at Lion Forge Entertainment, which is a huge animation company based out of St. Louis, I believe. And so not only is this event going to be something awesome for the community, but it's really going to help me in my relationship with the other studios that I know that are bigger, and to show them that I can do this type of stuff. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I really hope that you consider Senso Studios for the grant and help us save lives one story at a time. Thank you.
How about LA? Have you made any inroads into connecting with that region and taking what you do here and bringing it out further?
So my goal right now is to dig into the Midwest and serve the people that are here. LA has plenty of stuff that already caters to that. I am working with people that are from out. So Jimmy lives in LA. He flies all over the place or whatever. But actually, does he live in Atlanta? I don't know. See, because he's all over the place. But he's in LA a lot. So there's I do have connections. I know people. Even some of my friends who were from here, they moved out to LA and they're doing big and cool things now too. So yeah, I'm plugged in and I can get into those spaces. But I really want to make sure that I have roots here to make sure that I'm serving people that I serve the company to serve, which is Midwesterners who we get things 2 years later than the coast do. You know what I mean? And we're other than Chicago or Minneapolis, but particularly here in Iowa, Nebraska, kind of the flyover states, as you call them. I want to give us something cool that we can be like, oh yeah, that's from Iowa. Okay, you all know if you see or hear Iowa or Des Moines in a movie, you're like, oh, that's So yeah, that's what I want to create for everybody all the time. So, good question.
Alright, so I'm going to have all the Brazilian artists come on up. Colleen is going to pass out your voting ballots. And we are going to take one question for each person from the audience. So we can do, if you're on the fence about something or someone or have a question, you have the opportunity to do so. I'll also mention on your way out on the entry table, we do have some flyers about artwork, but also the projects that our presenting creatives have talked about tonight. So, and again, they're gonna hang out and talk to you as well. So, I'm gonna start with Art is Rad. Who has a question? Final question. I mean, you could give them an easy one. Yes, Vicky.
Do you know or can you share your percentage of those that are participating right now under 21 and those that are over 21?
Tough one.
I would say that at this point, we're at about 65-70% over 21 and 30-35% under. We actually have children that come on a weekly basis. We have kids aged 4 to 10 that come every week. It's very all ages, so it really, spans everyone.
I will add that the reason why we started this though is because we could find there's a lot of adults especially that forget that they can make art, or they used to make art, and then they, you know, said, oh, it's for kids, and so when you community art, we hear a lot of, oh, my kids would like that, or my girlfriend would like that, or my boyfriend would like that, or, you know, not them. And so the whole goal of this was to make this that way people would remember, like, they can create art, and like, yeah, just like me, and have no barriers. So, thank you for the question.
Alrighty, I'm gonna have Christy is next, who has a question about the indoor art show. Yes, go for it.
What is the range of prices for the different artists?
Range of prices for the different artists.
When they applied, I asked them to submit pictures and price points so that we could kind of have that kind of information. And I do think that these are going to be special gifts. This is, as you head into the holiday season, I think there will be things that are in that $50 to $100 range, but I also think that there are some really nice artists coming with you know, save your pennies, because some of them are up there a bit, and I think several $100s for some of the items would be a fair guess.
Thank you. All right. Question for Aaron about the 1212 project. Yeah, Tina, go ahead.
Do you have an album?
Yeah, well, working on the 1212 album right now. These songs some of them are recorded on previous albums. So you think I know how to use this.
You have a guitar in your hand.
Yeah,
Right.
I told you I really wanted that thing tonight. So yeah, some of them are recorded. The song Gravity is recorded with a full band. Some of this is just acoustic. The goal is to get a little bit bigger sound on a lot of it. So working on that.
Thank you. All right, question about the 99 project with Tina.
Yes. What's your favorite county that you have set to come up on your tour of counties?
Oh gosh, that's not fair. Honestly, everyone I've been to so far has been amazing, and there's just so many awesome places that you just don't know about, and some of them are just marshes, prairies. There's a lot of restored prairies coming up now, and so they're not exactly places that you can go and spend the day, but if you really enjoy nature and just wandering around and kind of getting lost, there's so many. I was just recently at 3 Mile Lake, at Union County. Beautiful place.
Alrighty, and last question for Bossy with his motion animation. Okay, cool. Who knew? Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna do a two-part question.
Sure.
For your red carpet event, you did mention that they can buy tickets. That's in the softball. And then, are you planning on going into schools more or anything along that line?
And if I could piggyback. You didn't fully ask the question. How are you connecting with the local
Yes.
kids and everything to do your?
Fantastic question. So November 15th, 8 o'clock to about 10:30 at Weir Cinema. Yes, it's not up yet. In October, tickets will go on sale, and I'll be posting about it. It'll be up. So sensostudios.com, my website. If you want to know, you can come and ask me. But and then schools. So I'm already I go and I've given presentations and stuff to the Boys and Girls Clubs and I go into libraries and stuff. Matter of fact, I was just in Omaha last weekend, giving a presentation there. Went out to Coralville yesterday to their library. I actually just got connected to, I think an English teacher at Lincoln, which I graduated from Lincoln, so I was excited about that. As well as one of the if anybody knows Theron Hobbs, Theron Hobbs, I always mispronounce his name. Theron Hobbs, he's up in DMPS, and so we're gonna try to get him plugged in, get some books in the libraries at the schools. Maybe have me come and just engage. However, schools are trickier to get into. Now I will say, Waukee, I've gone to their Apex program and spoken twice and talked to some of their kids over there. And then also I just got some books in their library as well. So just building those relationships and having them reach out to me whenever they have events or anything like that, because it's really at their discretion. Schools are a little trickier since it's students, which I get. So yes, I am, and I'm continually looking for new ways to get involved at schools. So fantastic questions, thank you.
All right, let's give these guys a round of applause. This is no easy task. It's amazing what it takes to get something done to 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So appreciate you all. Amazing projects. You have your colored pencils. You can select who you would like to be the recipient. And then Stephen and Colleen will go around and pick up the votes and they'll tally. And the artists are gonna hang out and chat some more. Yes.
Are we just selecting one?
You select one. Just one. Just one X or one check mark. Yes, Chad.
Is there a criteria in which we should evaluate?
No.
Or is it just open-ended?
Open-ended. It is. Whatever you feel. And I know that they will all take additional funds. So. You guys can sit down. Thank you.